Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I really appreciate you being here with me, hanging out, talking tech, talking cameras, this type of thing. So today is going to be a FujiFilm day. We've been talking about Canon and Nikon and a whole lot about Sony and everybody else, but we haven't been talking about Fuji very much. And I wanted to bring this up because originally I was going to talk about the Fuji X-T30. We got some specs on it, some pictures and whatnot, but I don't want to go into that on this video. I want to talk about Fuji in a whole, kind of, as what they're doing differently, and why other camera manufacturers really need to start mimicking what they're doing. Now, I want to tell you about some new features that are coming into their brand new firmware update. It's going to be firmware update 3.0, and it's going to be releasing in April. Unlike Canon, who says there's going to be a new firmware update and make it like G14 classified, super secret, don't tell anybody anything about it and just let you guess. Fuji will say, this is coming out in April, and these are the things that we're going to be dealing with. Now, there was an event in Dubai recently, and it's the X Summit, where they had a bunch of photographers, some well-known people there, voting going on, and they told everyone what was going on. Basically a roadmap, how things are going, and what to expect. This is what they do. They're very, very transparent like that. And here they brought up what is going to be in this firmware update coming in April, which is a couple of months from now, which is really cool. I want to go through some of these things so you can see what has changed. Now, number one, they're going to be adding in face and eye detection AF improvements. So it'll be able to find that eye and find the face quicker. Basically, speed up the pickup of the face as well as the stickiness, let's call it. Also, face selection functionality and tracking is going to be faster, which is really good. Also, we're going to have faster AF for subject at distances, so it's going to be able to distinguish faces that are smaller in the screen. We need that. We need to be able to pick up those faces sooner. The sooner, the better, right? Also, better functionality or better, let's say, operability for that touch panel. So it's going to be a little bit more sensitive, a little more quick. So that's always good too. So these are kind of the things that they were hitting on. Now, in the crowd, someone was saying, well, are you going to be giving us that are using the H1 the same functionality? And the guy, is like, he laughs and he's like, we can't do that as of yet. Bear in mind, the H1 has all different hardware, has a different sensor, a different processing unit. So it's going to be different, but we'll take your request. Now, I want to get a little bit deeper into the idea of we'll take your request and what does that mean and why is it so important? We'll flesh that out a little bit here. Now, they put out two different votes in this summit, and I'm going to highlight the two different votes and you'll see where we're going with this. Originally, it was like 100 different ideas and they kind of whittled it down to about 9. Now, number 1 is high dynamic range live view. Number 2 is live preview for long exposure. That'd be good for example, taking stars and whatnot. Also, multiple shot HDR. They had a request for focus bracketing as well as multiple exposures from 2 up to 9 for doing like creative work. Also, focus customization. Now, linear or non-linear, how that works. Also, in-camera time-lapse movie. A lot of people were looking for that, as well as 1080p at 240 frames per second for slow-mo. And finally, Wi-Fi RAW Studio, which would basically be the ability to work on your RAW photos, but through Wi-Fi. Now, most time you would think about, you have this little vote and it's like it really is meaningless. The difference is it's really not meaningless to Fujifilm. They really want to know what their next project is going to be. The second vote came out, and that vote was kind of interesting. It was a whole list of lenses, just a whole bunch of lenses. And they whittled that down to, let's say 20, 30 lenses. And they said, well, which ones do you want? I'm not going to read them all, but you can see them here on the screen. And they went through all of them and they had this discussion. Are you looking for, the X lenses? You're looking for the G lenses, the GF lenses for the GFX camera, for the medium format or for the APS-C? And which ones are of interest to you? And there was one photographer there that said they would just absolutely love a really nice tilt shift because they do a lot of commercial property work, buildings and whatnot. And then other people talked about some of the other lenses on the X series. So what I took out of it was, as you can hear, let me play this little clip here.
We cannot all the same day, but we have to prioritize. So which we should prioritize? So seriously, we will start project based on your voting results.
You hear what he said? He's like, seriously, we will start the project based on your voting, on what you want. What? What? What is that? Do you see Canon do that? Yeah, right. Nikon, anyone else, they don't do it. They really don't do it. They're not interested, it feels like. They do whatever's good for their bottom line, and that's it. Fuji, of course, has to always look at their bottom line, but they're really into the customer and what they want, and they're constantly giving back more. Here's a perfect example with that X-T3 update with the firmware version 3.0. Faster face tracking. That is what people wanted. Better AF, better autofocus tracking. That's what they wanted. They're giving it to them. That is the difference with these companies. You see Canon and Nikon, they put out a firmware update. It's always like putting a Band-Aid on something or fixing this or fixing that. It's never like, okay, we're going to give you more. They don't give you more. They fix things. Very, very rarely have I ever seen one of these other companies give back something more. If you take a look at, for example, an X-T2, and you look at the functionality of the X-T2 when it came out a couple of years ago, and you look at it today, it's like a whole new camera. It does so much more, right? There's more features. The hardware was still laying dormant there, and now through firmware updates, they squeezed it and they got more out of it, all right? This is what the companies need to do, and this is what makes the Fuji users so adamant about Fuji and such fanboys, let's call them, because they're getting more. They know that they're being appreciated, and they're giving back. Fuji's giving back what they're asking for, right? They're making these projects based on what the customers want. They're not making these projects based on what they can sell today or tomorrow, because they know if they make the customers happy, they're going to be there for a long period of time. They're not going to have to worry about them leaving, migrating to a different platform. It just doesn't happen. I mean, let's look at Nikon, for example. Q3 report just came out, like yesterday, I think it was, or a day before. All right, look at these numbers. Look at these numbers. It's just the writing's on the wall. You have Nikon, the imaging division revenue forecast down 15.44% from 2018. You got Nikon's overall earning forecast down 17.22. You have Nikon's DCILs, which is their digital cameras with interchangeable lens, right? 19.85 down, almost 20% down from 2018. You have Nikon lens sales. They're predicting now, they're forecasting down of 20.2%. You have their compact camera forecasts down 36.25%, guys. This is their numbers. I mean, nothing's up. It's all down in the tubes. It's all down. So if these camera manufacturers would just follow Fuji's lead here and say, the customers want X, Y, and Z, what can we do to give them X, Y, and Z? And how do we do it through firmware, right? So we don't have to go and reinvent the wheel and have iteration number 2, Gen 2, Gen 3 to try to get things fixed. Now, obviously, you're not going to put an extra card slot into a camera, right, with a firmware update or whatnot. It's got to be things that are already baked into this camera that you can squeeze out of it, whatever it is. I don't care if it's Canon with their EOS R or Nikon with the Z6 or Z7 or now the Panasonic with the S1, S1R, whatever it is, they need to give back to their customers so their customers stay around. Sony did that very well with their A7 Mark III, right? The clients wanted something that was sub 2,000 full frame, and they gave it to them. They gave it to them in spades. It's still an amazing, amazing camera. Full frame, it does a lot. They're getting a lot of value. Right now, today, we're in a value market. People that have money in their hands are looking to see what is the best value, right? And that's what they put their money down on. Not what they think is this or that or this new feature, this new thing. What is the best value? What is the overall best value? Right now, full frame mirrorless is probably still the A7 Mark III, and it's 2 years old almost, right? It's still a really good value for what you're getting. So I know this was a little bit of a rant, I'm sorry, but when I watched this X Summit out of Dubai, I was just compelled. I had to tell you guys about this. Now, of course, I wanted to tell you about the firmware update and all the little niceties in there, but it's more than that, guys. It's not just the firmware update or what's in it. It's why it's in there, right? And the reason those updates are in there is because of you, right? It's because of the people. They ask Fuji for something and Fuji gives it back. That is so massive. And like I said, I really hope the other camera manufacturers follow down the same path. They probably won't, but it's something that we can at least ask for. Anyways, guys, what do you think? What do you think about Fuji? What do you think about what they're doing? What do you think about how Fuji is making their products better as time goes on? Maybe not necessarily with Gen 2s and Gen 3s, but just simply through firmware. Do you think that your company, maybe Canon, Nikon, or whoever, should do the exact same thing? What is your thoughts on it? I want to hear from you. So as always, please, the most important thing about this video and all the rest of my 200 plus videos are the comment section below. So if this is your first time watching my content, welcome, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you can get all my content when it becomes available, and click the bell icon so when it is available, you will be notified of it. And give me a big thumbs up if you like the content. That would be awesome. Head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find a lot of photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me. I really appreciate it. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.